Hot today in Colorado. Ooh, look at that. I thought I'd make a long-term review video of the ST1100 because I have had it now. I think I've had this one for probably about 6 years. So I bought a pair of them, right? And the first one that I bought got to 100,000 miles. I'm like, yeah, 100,000 miles, fucking brilliant. And then literally like 50 miles later, the alternator gave out. It just started overheating the regulator. I tried another regulator, another battery, but really, I think the issue was with the alternator, and it's a big job. It's a big job on those. It's on these. It's a gas tank out, swing arm out, back end off thing, and I just wasn't prepared to do it for a 100,000 mile bike. So I sold it for like $800, and some bloke put a battery on the back of it and just like made it kind of like, I guess, total loss, you'd call it. And then it was abandoned in a Walmart car park. Then it was stolen and found by the police, and then they called me because apparently it's still registered in my name, and foolishly I said no, it's not mine, when I should have said yes, I'll come and get it. But anyway, so I got this one back off a friend. So I bought this one again about 2016. I want to say it had 75,000 miles. It's right around there, and now it's got 112,321 miles. So what have I learned in the ownership of an ST1100 in that time? Well, I've learned I absolutely love it. This is probably my favorite bike of all time because it's unstoppable. You can load it up. It's comfortable, it fits me perfectly, it's got enough power with not being, stupid, it's cheap to run. And this week, because gas prices are now like, almost $5 a gallon, I laid off the throttle on my work commute and I got 55 to the gallon. So this is not fuel injected, this is carbureted bike. So 55 miles to the gallon out of this thing, and that's going along at like 55 on the back roads and 65, 70 on the highway, on Highway 36. So anyway, so I'll just start from the front and work backward. Best front tyres I found are the Bridgestone Xcedra. They're the OEM, the 547, I think it is, G547. They're the OEM tyre, and they're really good because they wear evenly and they don't lose their shape. It's funny, but this tyre's now got expensive. They're about $140. So now I've just bought a Dunlop Road Smart, I think it is, for like about $90. So we'll see how I get on. But I do actually run these down until they're absolutely bald. So that is absolutely bald. Headlights a bit of a pain in the arse to change out bulbs. There might be a trick. I've not learnt it, but I've gone through a couple of headlight bulbs, and they don't take the H4, they take H3s, which are low power. So I did kind of fiddle the H4s in there by cutting some tabs off. Been through a couple of sets of brake pads. Someone said use OEM on these, are the best, and I did, and it made no difference. They're Honda brakes. They're good, not great. So I never, and I don't even know what pads they're in there now. There might be Honda ones, but no issues there. I mean, the brakes are okay. I've never changed the rotors on the front of this, and they're not that, a little bit of ridging on that one. It feels rougher, but they're within spec. The front forks on these, when I got this one, I actually did the seals, the bushings. I've also did head bearings on this, and obviously fork oil. So the front end on these are absolutely solid. It's well planted, really good. Maintenance wise, it's got a K&N. I clean that when I remember, but once every 10,000 miles, something like that. I do change the oil every 4,000 miles pretty much, and it's a really, really quick job changing the oils. You can literally do it in like 20 minutes, and what you need is one of these. So it's got the filter wrench on one side, and then it's got the 17 on the other end, and you can just use that and change the oil. So I usually drain it. So I have changed the oil a lot, and I put I put GTX or whatever, but I inherited, God, long story. I inherited many things recently, but I inherited a whole pile of oil, so I think Valvoline ended up in it. But during this time, I've never checked or changed the belt, the drive belt for the camshafts, and I've never checked the valves. Some people might be horrified, other people like me think, but if it's doing 55 to the gallon, that's pretty good. And it has a 7.2 gallon tank. So at that MPG, you're almost a 400 mile range. You know, I did have a broken mirror when I dropped it, and so I actually got just a mirror glass and replaced that, because mirrors at ST1100 are getting pricey. I think they might still be available for Honda, about 130 bucks. Mirror covers are hard to come by, and these ones are a bit beat up. Let's see what else has happened. Well, the temperature gauge has stopped working, so the temperature gauge simply doesn't work. And then about I think about 102,000 miles, the oil pressure light came on when I'm driving down Highway 36 one day. So I panic and I pull over, right? And then I call my friend Mitch, and I'm like, he's a Honda mechanic. I'm like, Mitch, what do I do? And he said, unscrew the oil filter and see if oil comes out when you turn the engine on. And that means your oil pump's working. He said, never heard of oil pump failure on ST1100. So I did that. Oil pissed out everywhere, so I thought pump's working. And then I bought a new sender unit, which goes somewhere here underneath the carbs, and you know, I never got round to fitting it, so the light's been on for the past 10,000 miles. You know that the box I got on the back is a Best 10 BESTM. I'm not sure if you can get those anymore, but again, these was like 80 bucks new. One thing did happen. This got a charging light on it, right? So it's like red, orange, and yellow. Sorry, red, orange, and green. Or might go red, orange, yellow, green. Anyway, for the charging status, I noticed that went red, and I was like, oh no, the charging system's giving up the ghost on this one as well. But then when I revved it, it seemed to be getting like about 11.2, 11.3 volts to the battery. So okay, so I replaced all the bulbs with LEDs. So put LEDs in the turn signals at the back, turn signals at the front, put LEDs in the stop tail light bulbs, and one of the headlight bulbs is out on the high beam, so I run on a high beam, and now the light goes green, so it just about charges about 12.7, 12.8. And if there is a weak spot of the ST1100, it's the alternator on the early ones. They're 28 amp, and now and a post 96 there, I think they're 40 amp. You can retrofit and stuff, but it seems awfully complicated. So when this one gives up the ghost, I think I'm gonna try and find a post 96 one. What else is happening in my long-term ownership? Well, let's see. Well, rear brake's great on this. It is a really fantastic rear brake. It's got that big rear rotor, which is the same as the Goldwing 1500. I have replaced the rear rotor. I got a scrap ST1100 for 100 bucks off a guy, and I did whip that got 50,000 miles. Why rotor? The early one, because they said 91. The rotor was terribly thin, and it was one of those like ventilated ones. It was like two-piece, as it were. But anyway, so I swapped it out with this one, and the rear brake is great. While we're on the rear end, I always use Shinko 009 Raven tires on them. They're around about 100 bucks. They're a 160 ZR17, and you can get about almost 10,000 miles out of these. Again, running it down to the carcass. At about 90 odd thousand miles, I did replace the cush drive rubbers. I took the rear out one day to change the tire, and I'm like, ooh, that doesn't look nice. And all the cush drive rubbers are worn, and there was a lot of debris in the drive unit. So I bought new ones, and I just greased the heck out of it, and all the splines as well. And they're known to give out on higher mileage ones. But it seems okay. The seat, it might be a Saddleman, I don't know, but it's not an OEM seat. But it's nice. Anyway, it's a nice, comfortable seat. Again, you could do 400, 500, 600 miles on this in a day easily. Got that big Nelson rig tank bag, the 1035, which they no longer make anymore, but a really nice, big, spacious tank bag. I've also got risers on this, so it's like about 1.5 inch risers. If you're a rich guy and you want to spend 300 bucks on heli bars, go for it. If you're a tight bastard like me, just buy these risers for about $25. I did fit these like Moose utility division things for winter, and it made a heck of a difference, but they didn't fit very well, so I just basically wound a load of gaffer tape around them, and I've kind of left them on, so they're cool. What other issues have I had with this? Haven't really had, there's been very, very few reliability issues. Yeah, front tyres and back tyres around about 10,000 each if you run down to the carcass. Like I said, typical MPG is 45, 46. It just hasn't gone wrong, and it hasn't cost me any money. I do have I have the stock screen on it at the moment, but I do have a much bigger screen that I run. When it gets a bit colder, but in hot weather, you get a little bit more air from this one. And actually, what I have noticed is now I've started using a headset in my helmet, a Senna. I think the Senna 10H or something like H10. I don't know, SMH10. But I've noticed with a little bit more noise with the taller screen. with lower screen rather. But yeah, you can hear that clearly. What else? Nothing else has really gone wrong with it. Like I say, I replaced the bulbs, and I did replace the flasher, because you know, if you put LED bulbs in turn signals, they flash really quick, and the flasher lives behind here. And it just took me. I bought one off eBay or Amazon for $6, and then it took me a while to just figure out how to put it on. But I just love this motorcycle. Like I said, it's, you know, look, it's not a sports bike, right? But it's got a little bit of get up and go. It's still like probably the best part of 100 horsepower. So, you know, I did actually, my long-term favourite was an FJ12, but I did actually sell my FJ12 a couple of years ago with the intention of not getting another one. This was meant to be superseded by the Blackbird. I've got a Honda Blackbird that I bought, and I haven't made a video on that yet, and I need to, and I've done quite a few miles on that thing as well. Where's the Blackbird? Oh, there it is, with the Gibby box on the back, and there's an RSV Millie as well as the NC. XT500 with 580 miles on it. KLX 250 with the big bore, and there's a Trail 110 right here. There's a 500 Gamma. Who don't see them very often, do you? Well, I do. So I mean, I said this would be a long-term review, but basically nothing's gone wrong. It just starts in the morning. I think I've been through like maybe it's on its second battery since I've owned it. Maybe got a new one and last year I just shoved it under the deck and left it outside, and you know, and I didn't even have to leave it on a tender, and I just went and started it one day, and it started after like not running for 4 months. It just, you know, and I know these are getting a bit long in the tooth, because they come out in about 90 or 91, and I think they ran to about 01 or 02 and got superseded by the ST1300. And I don't know, I've heard people say these were a better bike. I don't know. I've not had one. I don't think I've actually ridden one. Mitch has got one, so I might blag a ride on his. But it's hard for me to think that they'd be much better than this, because I just like this so much. And I did drill a hole there to give access to the damping adjustment on the rear shock, so you can see that hole there. I'm desperately trying to think of things to say about this thing, but I can't really think of any, because I say it just as a sports tour, it just ticks every box. And you know, I'm not against the BMW boxes, and people like them, and I've had a few of them, but I don't know, they just don't do it for me. But there's the whole BMW spare parts thing, you know, that are expensive. But as we just said, this thing actually doesn't use any parts. There is a piece missing there. I didn't scrape that up, but that wing is missing off the side, and I think the other one was missing. So my plan with this is to basically run it into the ground until it dies. It's my commuter, and then I might replace it with another one if I can find one that ticks the right boxes. So it's got to be clean, it's got to be relatively low mileage, so under 40,000. It's got to be post 96, and if that's the case, I'll get one. It'll probably be the last one I ever need. 2004 911 C4S Porsche, which is nice. Yes, that came my way, and you can't see it here, but it's just over here. But right there, right over there. Let's see if I can zoom in. There's the Hammer. So the Hammer is a Mercedes, a 2005 Mercedes E55 AMG, and it is fast as fuck. It's got if you've never heard of it, it's got a V8, 5.4 litre V8 with a supercharger bolted on it, and it's about 480 horsepower, and it's going to be about 550 when I finish with it. I've already split the cooling system and put a bigger intercooler on it, so that is one amazing car that takes a lot of other cars to the cleaners, and people which wouldn't think it is a real wolf in sheep's clothing. Anyway, we're getting off the point. It's the ST1100 today, and so yeah, that's it. Like I said, not really much else to say other than this is a fantastic, brilliant, awesome touring motorcycle. And 6, 7, 8 years ago, they're around the $2,000. Now, like everything post-COVID, they've hit like $3,500. I would pay $3,500, $4,000 for a nice low miles late model one of these. You know, like I said, because it just becomes an everyday bike. And it's funny, when I was thinking about replacing this as a commuter, you know, I kind of thought of all the specifications that I wanted to this bike to meet, and then at the end of it, I'm like, but that's the ST1100, you know, comfortable, good on gas, cheap to run, easy on tires, that kind of thing. Actually, I did one story. I did change the back tire the other night, right? And I was at the dump about a year ago, and I saw a tire. Well, I say it was a new tire. It had never been fitted, but it was quite old. But it was a Dunlop something. In fact, here it is over here, right? I don't know what it is. It's just free, that was all. And I wore it down to the carcass there. It's a Dunlop. Dunlop Sports Max Road Smart. Actually, I think that's the one. I think that's what the front bought. Anyway, I'll tell you what, this tyre was pretty hard, pretty tough. It took me about 2 hours to fit it because I fit my own tubeless tyres on the bikes like this. And I'll tell you what, when I came to take this off the other night, I could not break the bead on this thing. I literally had like another motorcycle using the side stand trying to push that down, and I had it in the vise and I was hitting it with things, even sawed a hole in it, you know. But anyway, I got it in the end. But my God, and yet that Shinko took me about 10 minutes to fit it on. I didn't bother balancing the back one. I think last time I fitted the front one, I don't think I bothered balancing it either. It doesn't seem to make any difference. I'm sure tyres today are constructed a lot more linearly than they were in the past. Anyway, so I'm going to shoot off. But yeah, buy yourself an E55 AMG. You'll be very pleasantly surprised. Or buy one of these and you won't be pleasantly surprised because you know just how good they are. So again, 1991 Honda ST1100, 112,000 miles. Hoping I might get two or three more. Hoping I might get two or three more years out of it. So anyway, that's it. We'll see you later.